Alright, I'm doing a little review or look at my new AR. And I'm sure nobody cares, but if you follow this channel, my old AR was a standard Ruger 5.56 AR, and I sold it in order to finance this. Yes, this is something like my dream AR, although now, I'm not that into ARs. I never will be. I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on one. So this is, a cheap, quote-unquote, dream AR. This is a dream AR for me. And in total, this gun probably has, as you see it sitting here, the receiver and the upper together, even counting FFL fee and whatnot, was, I think, $430. And the scope was $120. I get sales on most of this stuff. So, total of, what is that, $550 in this gun. Not bad. Oh, the sights were another $30, so $580. So I had the Ruger, and what I didn't like about it, it was a great gun. It was a great gun. It never malfunctioned the whole time I had it. Granted, I probably only shot 500 rounds through it. But it was a great gun in my opinion. Really liked it. Really smooth. Very nice gun. But I sold it. What I grew to not like about it was it had a front post A2, if you're familiar with ARs. And as time went on, I just decided I couldn't live with that. I didn't like it. It gets in the way of optics. It gets in the way of red dots. Now, it doesn't really matter. No. It doesn't really get in the way of a 3x9 scope at all. I put my 3x9 scope on a little riser, and it didn't even ghost. You couldn't see the front sight. So to me, there's basically three kinds of optics. Now, I'm sure there's more for the guys who are really into it. There's basically three kinds of optics you're going to run on a AR. You're going to run a red dot. You're going to run a 1x4 scope like this one. Or you're going to run a 3x9 scope for more longer range stuff. Or I guess anything up to a 4x16 scope or something like that. So an A2 post is actually fine for two of those sights in theory. The red dot and the 3x9, it both doesn't interfere with. The 1x4, it apparently does. I mean, I didn't run them together, but, because on a low magnification, on anything 3 magnification, probably even 2 magnification or above, the scope just focuses past the front sight post, so you don't even see it. Like I said, I believe when my old scope, when I had it down on like 3 power, I'd see the front sight ghosting. But as soon as I put it on a riser, which kind of made it easier, I liked the riser better anyway. It was kind of a mild riser, a 0.7 inch riser, I think. As soon as I put that scope on a riser, didn't see nothing, So it's perfect. And then for the red dot, again, you can do a co-witness where you either kind of co-witness with the iron sights, or I ended up doing a lower 1/3 co-witness, and that works fine. You just, it's fine. But the red dot was a little high when I did my lower 1/3 co-witness. I mean, I liked it, but... And then if I'd have done a straight co-witness, whatever they call absolute co-witness, I wouldn't have really liked the front sight in the way. But, like I said, I mean, I needed an excuse to play around anyway. And I looked into just getting rid of the A2 off of my Ruger, and everything was more expensive than did this rifle for, basically, because I was able to buy this basic rifle, not counting the scope, which shouldn't count anyway, because I could have bought the scope with the Ruger. You can't hold the scope against the Ruger. Comparing basic rifle to basic rifle, I sold the Ruger for $480 and paid $430 for the lower. Was $120, $130, and the upper was $280. So it was like $410 out the door. And, FFL fee, whatever. It was $20. So $430 out the door. So I actually made $50. This was $50 cheaper than... Now, granted, I was surprised to be able to get $480 for my Ruger, but I did. So, and I sold it on arms list cash. And had real good experiences with that website. Anyways, you know, the guys I've met on there are nice. It's funny, gun owners are pretty cool people. I mean, yeah, anyways. Uh, so yeah, so I decided that I didn't want the A2 post. I thought about and looked into removing the A2 post off my Ruger, but that seemed more trouble than it was worth, and it was going to cost me at least $100, because then I'd have to buy a low profile handguard and free float it and get a gas block, low profile gas block, and do basically some gunsmithing that I wasn't comfortable with. And I know people can say, oh, it's easy, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, but I just didn't feel like messing with it. And my dad is into ARs, and he would have helped me, so it would have been even easier than for a normal person. And he has all the tools, and he knows all about ARs. He has like 3, expensive ARs probably. Anyways, and he, he swaps his out and does all the tinkering. But anyways, but I just decided, and I was trying to think of what to do. I knew I didn't want the front post of my Ruger. There's people who said hacksaw off, but then I also wanted backup iron sights to be able to be on it, and if you just hacksaw it off, then where's your sights going to go? Your front iron sights. I wanted backup flip-up iron sights. I like the way my Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 was set up, basically, if you're familiar with that gun, which was awesome. It had the Magpul flip-up sights, and it had an integrated rail, and, free-floating handguard, all that. So, yeah, so nothing I could do with the post really appealed to me, and it was going to cost, like I said, consider that this was I made technically $50 off of this build. I pocketed $50 off replacing my Ruger with this build, whereas it would have cost me $100 or $150 to do the Ruger the way I wanted. So that's a $200, swing, and I'm poor. So, anyways, so then I was gonna buy a Smith & Wesson Optics Ready carbine, they're called, which is just Smith & Wesson's entry-level AR, but with a without a A2 post, but with just a little rail up here. But everything else is the same. It still doesn't have a free-floating handguard or anything like that. But it just takes away the A2 posts and puts a little, like, 1.5-inch Weaver rail there. But what scared me off the Smith & Wesson was, besides that, it would have also been expensive, because I would have had to sell the Ruger and try to get a Smith & Wesson for the same price, which would have been tough. Although, if I just got $40 for my Ruger, I think that would have been fine. But the thing I didn't like about the Smith & Wesson was that it has a 1x9 twist barrel. The more I read up on those, they're bad news. You can't really shoot heavy bullets with them. And the heavy bullets are what you want for any kind of distance work. Now, is this ever going to affect me? No. All I shoot is 55 grain target crap, at the range. But, there's some part of me that wants that option, Someday I can shoot 79 grain bullets or whatever out of this thing if I want. Because with the Smith & Wesson, the 1x9 twist, you have to do the research on it, but it's not good with the heavier bullets. It doesn't stabilize them properly and accurately. And like I said, for any kind of long range shooting, the heavy bullets are what you want. So, people on the web tend to not ever criticize Smith & Wesson, I've noticed. And so that was a big turnoff. There's not any other really mainstream AR that I know of that's running such a high twist. A 1x9, only the Smith & Wesson. The Ruger I had was a 1x8, which is better. And this one I built is a 1x7, which may be better yet. So, like I said, nobody mentions it. So I eventually decided, because it's a 1x9 twist, I didn't really want the Smith & Wesson. That was the main downgrade to it. Also, when I was researching, I'll talk a lot about this probably, but there was some fit issues between my lower and upper and some slop there. And when I was researching the solution, which my solution was something called an Accuwedge, I just noticed that several of the comments would mention, yeah, I used one of these on my Smith & Wesson AR and it works great. Or, yeah, this took all the slop right out of my Smith & Wesson AR. I noticed like 3 to 5 comments like that. And it kind of got to be a little bit of a pattern. I'm thinking, like, so is this telling me that Smith & Wesson ARs have a lot of slop? Why do people keep mentioning using these Accuwedges and Smith & Wesson ARs? I wasn't seeing any comments about, yeah, I used this on my Ruger AR. That's the thing, my Ruger AR fit together so tight. I mean, it was like, I didn't even know slop was a thing between receiver and upper. and poor fit and all that. I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, it was so tight on my Ruger. That's another thing I liked about that gun now in retrospect that I didn't even know at the time. There was no slop whatsoever. You know, very, very tight fit between the upper and the lower on the Ruger. So anyway, for those reasons, I kind of soured on the Smith & Wesson, and I didn't get it mostly because of the 1x9 barrel twist. So I looked into just buying a Palmetto State Armory, looked into it for a while. They seem to be decent quality. You know, they're not the greatest quality. Some people are always going to turn up their nose on anything that's not $1 million, you know. To heck with them. I don't care. You know, I'm not rich, and I'm not going to, you know, put 50,000 million rounds through my gun. I would say not go to war with it, but I mean, you could go to war with this gun, so that's kind of a misnomer. This is a perfectly basic, reliable gun, you know. I'm sure this is equivalent to what the military gives its troops in quality, roughly. So yeah, I looked at all the specs on the PSA, even the cheaper uppers they sell have good materials, good quality. I went with an Anderson lower. Now that was kind of so it's a Palmetto State Armory upper. I don't know the name or whatever. It wasn't listed as a Freedom upper on the website, but if you look, the barrel is stamped Freedom. So I guess it is a Freedom upper. But it was $280, $279.99. It's got the M-Lock handguard, 16-inch, all the buzzwords, the barrel's chrome, moly vanadium, something, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to put 9 million rounds through my AR anyway, so I ain't that worried about what's going on with the barrel. And it's nitride lined, I guess, which I guess is good and increases battery life. I don't know. And I bought the lower, I bought the upper, of course, from Palmetto State Armory website. The lower I bought from, it's an Anderson lower. I don't know why I went with an Anderson now. I wish I'd have gone with the Palmetto State Armory now because they didn't fit together too well. It's possible if I'd have got a PSA lower, it would have had better fit. But I got the Anderson lower. I got it from Sportsman's Guide. Again, don't ask me why. I think it was 130. It was like 120 plus, or it was 130 for whatever reason. I don't remember why. And plus, I guess you got to throw on the $20 FFL fee. My dealer, by the way, raised his FFL fee from 15 to 20 when I went there, I noticed. But anyways, so you know, everything I had read and heard from real life people is that Anderson lowers are good, high quality, basic lowers. So I got one. I got the complete assembled. Now, I'd never done this before, and I didn't know if it was just as simple. And I'd seen my dad clip these ARs together. Like, he has just like one lower and about 3 uppers. So I didn't know if it was just that simple or what. I mean, I was pretty sure. But when I got in, sure enough, yes, it's just that simple. Even for an idiot like me who's never really had an AR part, all you got to do is really just clip them together, put these pins in, and you're done. Now, I did that, though. There was some slop. And I'm kind of OCD, so that bugged me. There was some slop between this upper and lower. You can see a little gap there. I don't know if you can see it. If there's light coming through, you can see the actual gap. I'm not going to... Yeah, you can see a little gap. You caught it right there. But there's not really any slop anymore. The reason for that is that I got an Accuwedge. I ordered one. I put it in there. And it has gotten rid of most of the slop. There may still be a little... Like, if I was to take this... and this and hold them and wiggle them, there's probably a little side-to-side slop, but there's not really any up and down slop. There's not much, if any, side-to-side slop now. So the Accuwedge really took care of the slop very well. But I still don't like it. It's because I don't like knowing that there's an Accuwedge in there taking care of the slop. I don't know why. I'm still OCD about it a little bit. But honestly, as time goes on, I'll probably care about it less and less, and it's not a big deal. The Accuwedge, I ordered on eBay. If you don't have Amazon Prime, eBay is the way to go because you get free shipping most cases from there for little doodads like that. Whereas on Amazon, you do not if you don't have Prime, which I don't have Prime. I think it was $5.99 for a 6-pack. They come in different colors, like 2 red, 2 black, 2 yellow. Like it matters because they're going inside your damn gun. I had to use the whole size. I tried some of the tricks people said, and they're dumb. People always say, oh, use an O-ring. And everything I've read about the O-ring, first of all, they're just as expensive. You know, if you're going to go buy a pack of O-rings, you're not going to beat $6. And then, from everything I've read, the O-rings, you can put an O-ring around this front lug, apparently. They break, you know, so pretty much every time you close your gun, you have to put a new one in. So screw that. Why not just get an Accuwedge for $5.99 for a 6-pack that'll last you forever, and it's not going to break, you know? keep reusing the damn. I don't know why everybody just, you know, like I said, every video I looked at, I did a lot of research about these Accuwedges and stuff. Every damn video is just full of these comments. Oh, just get an O-ring. And then the next guy, oh, just use a foam earplug. No, you know, I don't know. It's just annoying. And by the way, I tried the foam earplug thing. It didn't work. I mean, maybe my gun. Now, the slop in it was not that bad. I don't want to give you the wrong impression. And probably most people wouldn't even care, you know. But there was definitely some. But for saying that there wasn't a whole lot of slop, for whatever reason, the foam earplug thing didn't even affect it, you know. And I even put 2 in at one point. And it wasn't enough to really have any effect at all. You know, there's still just as much slop as before. So I don't know what people are on about with the foam earplug thing. As far as I can tell, they're dumb because it doesn't seem to work at all. But I got my Accuwedge. At first, I put the full-size Accuwedge in there, and I just pushed so hard on that receiver and lower. And eventually wedged them together, and I had to actually hammer the pin and everything else. So it was a really tight fit, basically. But the whole, everything I had read was you're going to have to trim the Accuwedge. I was kind of disappointed that you didn't. Like, wow. So what if my fit gets sloppy again? I won't be able to just put a bigger Accuwedge in there because it's already as big as it's going to get, you know. But then I opened it up a little later and I trimmed a little bit off because probably about a 1/16 of an inch. There's like a little circle on the bottom that's kind of almost a separate piece to the main. I trimmed that off and put it back, and it still locks up super tight. It didn't seem to affect the tightness any, but this time it went back together a little easier. The pins went in a little easier, I could definitely tell, but there's still no slop, so I'm pretty happy with it. So I gotta say I'm happy. Like I used to be able to just wiggle like this, and you could see them move together. You know, the Accuwedge really thumbs up for me. It really got rid of that slop. And it really seems sturdy. And I've heard some downsides. Some people said, like, oh, it's going to break apart. It's a rubber, you know. I don't think it's going to break apart. You know, it could break apart in pieces, get in your trigger group. Oh, my God. Trigger, you know, last thing you want is pieces of rubber floating around your trigger. I think this is, you know, the solvents. The solvents are going to get in there, you know. I'm not worried about it. The solvents will get in there and break up that rubber, and then little pieces of it go in your trigger group and blah, blah, blah. There's always somebody whining about something. I really don't think that's going to be an issue. You know, I can pop it out and look at it and make sure it's not degrading every so often, but I'm pretty sure it's never going to. It's freaking hard rubber, or at least medium hard rubber. Got a little bit of give to it, of course, that you want. But yeah, really happy with the Accuwedge as far as taking the slop out of the lower, but still kind of OCD that there was slop in the first place. Now, why I didn't just get a PSA lower, I don't know. Just because I had it in my head, oh, these Anderson lowers are good. They're the ones you want. If I had to go over, I'd definitely get a PSA lower and hope that the fit was a little better, you know, fit tighter without the Accuwedge. And I still may. I'm actually thinking of getting a PSA lower just so I'll have no slop without the Accuwedge, maybe. Now, that would cost probably $100. I was thinking of doing the stripped one because they had a sale on them for $40. So I'm like, well, for $40 to possibly get rid of my slop problem without using an Accuwedge, it might be worth it to my OCD self. And now, then you got to slap a $20 FFL fee on there, so it's really $60. And here's another thing. Some of the PSA lowers come with a tension screw, a nylon tip tension screw that does the same effect as the Accuwedge. I don't know, it's back here or something. So you screw it into the receiver and it tightens everything up. So it would also be nice. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which PSA uppers have it and which don't, or I was trying to. Not really anymore. So I'm not sure if the $40 one I was looking at has that screw. And I actually emailed them asking about it and they didn't reply, which kind of bugged me. But anyway. So yeah, I may still get the PSA lower just so I get a lower that has a better chance to fit tight without an Accuwedge, and may have the nylon tipped tension screw. Apparently the PSA ones only have the hole. You got to buy the screw yourself separate. But there's already been some discussion I found on the internet, like which screw to buy and everything. That may be if I care. Like I said just now, with the Accuwedge and with the slop wasn't that bad to begin with. You know, it's not worth spending the money. I may one day, but for now, it's fine. And like I said, it's locked up pretty damn tight with that Accuwedge now. No slop. There's a little gap in there, but who cares, I suppose. You know, look at this. so tight I can't move the upper and bottom. Where before you could clearly hear like a clicking sound and stuff. You can probably hear a clicking sound now, but it's just all the other loose, you know, the magazine and stuff. Other things I've noticed versus my Ruger, the quality does seem a little lower. It does seem, I noticed the finish. This is after like 2 times shooting it, like 150 rounds total, roughly. You can see it already wore this finish off here and here. There was this blemish, this little line, right when it came. So, and it wasn't a blemished upper. This was a supposedly non-blemished upper. But I don't care. I knew there'd be little nicks and shit after a little while anyway. But yeah, the finish is coming off kind of fast. But again, I don't care. It's no big deal. But my Ruger did seem a little higher quality than this, as far as the finish, the fit, and things like that. Yeah. The receiver, I know they're supposed to be mil-spec all the same size, but it actually seems like a little thinner or something than my Ruger. Maybe it's the hand. I don't know what it is, but the whole thing seems a little cheaper and actually thinner, which, like I said, I can't imagine that actually be the case because it's all mil-spec, right? So I don't know why, but the Ruger seemed just a little thicker, bulkier, stronger, and this doesn't. But it's still great. I shot it, and like I said, I've put probably 150, 160 rounds through it so far. I know for a fact in my first range session, I put exactly 70 rounds through it, I believe. And I just went out today with it, and I probably put 60 more. I don't shoot a ton of ammo just because it's so expensive. 60 rounds. I buy them I got my most recent ammo for like $6-7 for 20 at Academy of just like American Eagle or something. And so, you know, 60 rounds is $21. Every time I go to the range, I got to use the toll road, and that's like $5 to $7. I don't have to, but I do. So every time I go to the range, it's costing me $30+. Just you know, before you barely even get started. And like I said, I'm po. Anyways, I noticed this stock seems a lot more rattly than the one that came on my Ruger. And it's hard to see how hard that is to, I don't know why, it was very stiff. Like when I first got the lower, I couldn't even freaking move it, and I was trying to figure out what am I doing wrong. And turns out I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just really stiff. It's loosened up somewhat, but yeah, there's more rattle to it than the Ruger, and it's stiff, but it all works and it's all good. Trigger maybe a little tougher than the Ruger, but it's good trigger pull. I suppose I should unload this. There is a loaded mag, and I don't want to drop the chamber on it because I'm sitting here with it empty. The gun seemed a little dry at first. I sprayed some rim oil in there now. The upper. I haven't had any malfunction in those 160 rounds except like the third round I ever shot out of it. Like I shot 2 rounds of the third round out of the first mag. The third round, it cycled and didn't chamber around. I have no idea why that was. Whether the mag wasn't seated, I believe it was because I checked it and everything. Whether it was, you would think that'd be more of a magazine problem, but for some reason, the third shot I ever shot through this thing, like I said, it didn't chamber around. There's just nothing in there, and that was weird. But I've never had a problem since. And like I said, it was really dry, and I didn't oil it the first time I shot it. I think it was dry anyway. I don't know. I'm not enough of a gun nut to know. But so I sprayed some rim oil in there later and oiled it up real good. So, you know, I don't know why that happened, but it hasn't happened since. So, which granted, I never had any malfunction in my Ruger, but still, I trust this already. You know, so far it goes bang every time I pull the trigger. What else? The scope was the whole reason I wanted this flat top gun. I wanted to do a 1x4 because I thought I would absolutely love it. And I don't know that I love it quite as much as I thought I would. The scope is a Vortex Crossfire 2, which is the most expensive optic I've had. I go cheap on all this stuff. And it was on sale for 120 bucks from Cabela's at the time I got it. It does not have the lighted reticle, which is what makes the expensive version, I guess. The version that's with the lighted reticle, same scope, just with a lighted reticle, is I think $250, and I got this for $120. Sure, I'd like to have the lighted reticle, which apparently kind of makes it a little bit like a red dot, but yeah, I do like the scope. Just just say the 1x4 scope platform in general, I've never really used before, and I thought I'd love it because I really like scopes on my guns. And I thought it would be perfect because I thought it would give me close range power that you need with an AR, you know, close quarter combat ability and the ability to reach out with a scope. And I personally just love scopes in general. So I thought it'd be perfect for me. I don't know that it's been all it's cracked up to be, but it's good. I don't know that it's as good as, I don't know that just a red dot isn't the best thing to run an AR unless you're of course doing actual distance shooting. But I don't know that in general a red dot is not just the best thing to run an AR. And I don't really want to believe that because I'm all pro scope, but now, you know, now that I've tried it, I'm not so sure that a red dot just isn't the way to go. But now I have a 3x9 scope that UTG Bugbuster I have a review for. I have my Bushnell TRS-25 and I have this Crossfire, so they're all cheap. But I have all three optics types that you put on an AR, in my opinion, basically. And yeah, this one's pretty good. It's got tremendous eye relief. It's much nicer than my UTG Bugbuster in terms of just overall quality. It's just a nicer scope. I bought the rings. They're QD rings. You can get them off of Amazon for $16. You know, I wasn't looking to spend a lot of money. I never am. And it turns out just I wanted the QD rings because what's the point of running iron sights if you can't take your scope off anyway? Running backup iron sights. I found these on Amazon. I should have a link to them or something, but these are great mounts for $16. Shoot, $15.99. I didn't know I was gonna be able to find. And they have the QD, and they seem to work. I mean, I'm sure they're not the best mounts in the world, but they seem to work to me. You know, they held zero and all that business people talk about. They're metal. I saw one of the reviewers claiming, "Oh, I think these are plastic." No, they're metal. So yeah, really great finding those mounts because I was afraid I was going to have to spend like $40, $90 or some sort of obscene freaking amount on freaking mounts. And some of them most of them didn't even have quick detach. So to find just, I realized with these 1x4s, you kind of need this cantilever mount, they call it, where it puts it forward. I didn't realize why until I got it. Once you do, you will. Just that you don't want the scope too far back. And so you need something that can, but you don't want to, what I learned is you don't want to mount your scope mount on this second rail because it can move around a little bit, the handguard rail. So you want to you want to only be mounted to your receiver. Apparently that's a thing that I didn't know before this. So this allows you to only mount to your receiver and still put your scope forward a little bit. You don't want your scope too far back. You know, you want it wherever's comfortable for you, I guess. But it ends up being usually something like this, about where the back is usually about even with the end of the receiver. Mine's a little forward of that, but so you end up really needing these cantilever mounts, it turns out. I thought I was just going to use regular scope mounts on it, but now I see why people use these cantilevers. They're tailor-made for these 1x4 scopes. You really need them, I think. And to get one with the QD rings and everything for $15.99, great deal. Well, again, I got them off of eBay in the end, but I found them on Amazon. I forget the name. They're Mizugiwa or something like that. That's all you need to search. Search for some sort of Mizugiwa, Mizugiwa or something on that. You know, it'll auto-spell correct it for you when you search it. Mizugawa or Mizugiwa rings. You know, search for like Mizugawa cantilever scope mount or something on Amazon and you'll find it. Yeah, great mounts there. Was so happy to be able to find those for cheap, because when you spend all this money, you're not that big into these guns, and you just end up spending money on top of money, and now you got to get a mount because these Crossfire 2s, despite being $120, didn't come with the mount. You know, and you figure, oh, I'll get them out for $20. Well, $20 sounds like a decent amount of money. Oh, yeah, you can easily get them out for $20. No, there's not that much available for $20. It's amazing how expensive everything is these days. But yeah, I found these. These are very good quality, and they're very cheap. Like I said, $15.99 on Amazon when I looked. So those were a hell of a find. Now the sights, again, I looked at what everybody was buying. I got these Tacticon. These run about $30 for the set. Flip up. As you can see, obviously they're flip up. They're pretty good quality. They're 30 bucks. I didn't realize how expensive the Magpul Mbus or whatever they're called sights are. They're pretty expensive. They're like 70 bucks for the set or something, even on Amazon. And like 40 bucks just for the rear sight. They sell the rear sight separately because probably everybody uses it with A2 post or something. So yeah, the Magpul flip up plastic sights are expensive. And these were like $29.95. They're Tacticon brand, or I believe they're also the same as another brand called Ozark. Now, there was one little issue. There's a couple little issues with them. Generally, they seem good, and they seem pretty good quality for 30 bucks. I did my research as always. They flip up nicely. Because there's other flip up sites for like 15 bucks, even as low as. But you look at the reviews for them, everybody's like, these are cheap junk, or every other review says these are highly reviewed, you know. They're a little ugly, in my opinion, but you know, they're actually got a little quality to them and everything, and they actually, you know, they do cost 30 bucks and not 15 bucks. So, and they come in this cool little wood box, by the way. Anyways, but there's a couple issues. The rear sight actually seemed it comes with two holes like they do that rotate like in a 90-degree angle. You know, like a pinhole for longer range precise shooting and a bigger hole for close up. Now the issue I had with it is it doesn't fit. I can't get it to fit under here, so I can't run back up. I got this one going obviously, but I don't have the rear. It's in my closet. It's not mounted because it doesn't fit under here. And it would, except for, it's hard to explain, but the little aperture, I guess you call it, is like in one piece at a 90-degree angle. I could only just show it to you. But the way the Magpul sights are, they lay flat. And these sights also lay flat. But there's part of them that sticks up a little bit. Just enough to get in the way of the scope. You know? And there's not really too much of a way around it. So for now, I left them off. I don't know what the solution is. I could cut one of the two apertures off. Because the problem is the aperture is like a right angle mechanism. It's not like the Magpuls where it just flips together, clips together. It's like there's one, and then when you want to use the other one, you flip it at a right angle. You just flip the whole piece over, and bang, now you're using the other one. But the problem is when you try to push it down, this thing is one piece, and it's sort of sticking up. It won't allow you to go completely flat with the receiver. And so it's just a little too big to fit in there. Like I said, the Magpul version doesn't do that, and it would definitely fit under here once laid flat. So I don't know what to do. I may just buy the Magpul rear sights someday. They're 40 bucks by themselves. That's a lot, but you know, after I recover from spending all this, maybe I will. Well, I didn't really spend much, as I said. You know, sights another 30. You know, it all just keeps adding up. But anyways. Oh, and I sold one of my mags with with my other guns, and I gotta buy another mag. That could be another 20. Just adds up and adds up and adds up. But anyways, oh yes, so yeah, so that's, I got everything going the way I want. And by the way, the rear sight also, one of them was a little, they call it canted, just means bent. Just a little, and I don't think it was a big, one of the two apertures. The other one seems fine. Once you flip the one up, it seems straight, but and you flip the other one up, it seems a little crooked. Now, I think it's the big one, and I don't think it would matter anyway. I mean, it's just a little hole there, and it's just bent a little, so I don't, but that did kind of bug me a little bit too. So I can't say a perfect thumbs up on these Tacticon sights. I still like them for the most part. Like I said, I don't think that little bit of canting will even matter. And it's only on one of the two reticles, and, and like I said, I can't see it really even actually mattering. They should still work fine. But yeah, so what to do about this? So it's not the perfect setup because, well, one, I'm still a little worried about this slop, which, like I said, is fixed with the Accuwedge. If this was perfect, I'd like to have a receiver that it was attached to the lower perfectly with no slop, with no Accuwedge. or close to perfect anyway. And I'd like to have this rear sight situation figured out. But it's 95% what I want, and it's nice. I think I may get... I actually don't like shooting as much as my Ruger either, because I actually like the plastic handguard of the Ruger better. It's more comfortable, it's bigger in your hand, and the plastic doesn't transmit like any heat. And this kind of does. Like even after 10, 15 shots, it'll just be like if your hand's up here, it's a little warm because there's the gas block, and you know... So I don't know, I'm going to look into if they make like plastic. I'm sure they do, or I assume they do, like plastic guards for this part. Not a big deal, but you know, I did find my Ruger a little more comfortable to shoot. With the handguard setup that it had. Even though it was the so-called cheap plastic handguard everybody gets rid of, it still was nicer. You know, it was a little thicker in the hand. The plastic to me felt better than this metal, which seems weird because you normally think metal is higher quality than plastic. But, you know, and plus, like I said, I can actually feel this warm up just a little. It's nothing big at all, but you can actually feel this warm up a little because it's metal. It's transmitting heat. And the plastic on the other thing never transmitted any heat that I could see. It may melt one of the time, but it never transmitted any heat, really. So there it is, my near perfect Ruger AR setup. Anderson lower, Accuwedge to take out the slop. Let me just check it again, just to demonstrate how rock solid, non-sloppy that is. Free floating handguard, got the Tacticon sight. Got the Crossfire 2 1x4 with the quick detach rings. Sighted this in today, basically. I didn't fully sight it in because I don't know if this is... It was kind of wet at the range. Been raining a lot lately. I just did some basic sighting in at like 20 yards. And I want to sight it in at 50 yards too, so... So it was just some like... So if like I get in a gunfight in the next week, you know... my scope will be somewhat sighted in. Yeah, and so that's it. Pretty happy with it. Like I said, the only things I may do is I may look into replacing this lower. Whether rebuilding it or just getting a new complete assembled one to try to get a better fit. And I know I'll have to debate with myself whether that's worth any amount of money, you know. Like I say, when you look at that, you can get the stripped PSA lower for $40. You know, I figure you might as well try it. And you can just buy it and put it on and, you know, see and if it doesn't work. Thing is, I've never done a full lower, so I've never... I would have to take all the parts out of this if I get the strip lower and put it in the other one, and I have to learn all that. And I'm not the smartest at doing shit like that, so that is a fear of mine. I mean, just a learning curve I'd have to go down. I'd have to spend an hour or whatever learning how to do those and do it. And, you know, it's just kind of a hump in the road there. Or I could just get the assembled lower, but then that would be significantly more expensive. Now you'd be talking like $150-ish just to, you know, just because of a little bit of OCD-ness, basically. Because this is fine, you know. Like I said, with the Accuwedge, it's not even sloppy at all. It may have a little side-to-side slop still, but you know, the Accuwedge got 90% of that out too, if not all of it. You know, it's tight. I tell you, it's just tight. And I'm so very happy on the Accuwedge, by the way. It works fantastic. So yeah, happy on the gun. It's what I want. Got the 1x4 scope now. I don't think the 1x4 scope is quite as like much of a panacea as I was hoping, but you know, it's what I wanted. And like I said, I like that now I have all three major sight groups for four if you count iron sights. What I consider all three major sight groups on AR. There may be cheap versions, but in my opinion, they're decent quality versions of all three. I got the Bugbuster 3x9, the TRS-25 red dot, and this Crossfire 2. And I got iron sights should I choose to run those. So yeah, that's my new AR. Palmetto State Army upper 280. Magpul or M-Lock, whatever you call it. All I read is that that's the one that's going to win in the future, so it's better than Keymod, so I got it. Yep, there we go. A new AR now, no longer oh, I got an AR. I must be the worst person in the world according to the media anyways. But, yeah, there we go.